T minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
That is true. That is true. All right, we're just gonna start with the hand clap. We have our pretend audience in the building.
Right.
So we're gonna start with the hand clap. Hey y'all. Welcome to the Shine Your Light podcast. Woo 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 woo. I couldn't help that woo woo woo. I tried to
Keep it who you
I tried not to do it, but I couldn't help it. It was like so natural for me to do. Because everybody keep talking about my woo woo woo.
Okay, that means they're listening.
Right.
Okay, that's true. That's
And
true.
then just enhance it a little bit. You know?
Okay, enhance
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
There we go.
I think you
like
want it on
that.
that machine. That's what it is.
That's what the team
Yeah.
is for. That's what the team is for, to help you, to help make you better. So we're gonna enhance my woo woo woo. Hey y'all. Woo 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 woo. Okay. So welcome to the Shine Your Light podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Lachelle Hooks. Woo.
Right.
I'm joined today by my guest co-host. We got Ty the Guy in the building.
Tie the guy.
Yes.
With a lot of those.
Ty the Guy. This is a first for us, Ty the Guy, because we've never been here solo dolo.
That is true.
Yeah, we got Town in the building too. He may contribute to the conversation. Okay. But basically, I'm amongst greatness, and I'm excited about the conversation today because the sister needs a little guidance. I don't know about y'all, all right, in the dating game out here, the dating world. I don't know how it's going for y'all, but I need a little guidance. Okay.
And we all do.
Amen. Amen. I appreciate your humility for admitting that.
We definitely all do.
You know what I'm saying? And the vulnerability, I appreciate it as always.
I see you working on it in the midst of.
I'll try it. Listen, God is working on me in the midst of a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
Amen. So I'm just thankful to be here, y'all. But as y'all know, maybe you do know, maybe you don't. I am single, right? Ty the Guy, are you single?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. Are you married?
No.
There we go. Amen.
No.
There we go. So, since you're not married, correct me if I'm wrong, there is a selection process, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, I want to kind of talk a little bit about that selection process, how we decide who to date, the process of dating itself, and kind of just get some feedback from y'all, and definitely from Ty the Guy, hopefully Tone, and let's just kind of talk about it and see what we come up with. Is that okay?
I'm for it.
Let's do
I'm
it.
for it.
Let's do it. Yes. It's all for purpose, y'all. I don't want us to just be out here dating willy-nilly. I want us to be, if you want to, that's your business. But for me, I want to date with purpose. Okay. I want to be only with one person, right? And I want to be with my husband. Okay. Of course, we all go through a preparation process in season where we are preparing for our spouse. We're preparing to be a wife. We're preparing to be a husband, right?
Right.
Right. But once we complete that process and we feel, pretty much like we're ready to bring someone else into our lives, like, what does that process of choosing look like? So, Ty the guy, got some questions for you. First question is how do you pick who you date?
Hmm. That's definitely a broad question.
Yeah.
Starting off, because of course we got our long list of things, right, that we would
True.
like.
True. Let me ask this one
mm,
first. Let me ask this one first. And this might like pin it down just a little bit. Do you believe in dating multiple people at the same time? Of course, without intimacy. But do you believe in dating multiple people at the same time?
there was a point of time where I did, and I think that was more of an age thing,
Okay.
um, in terms of like mentality, in terms of where I was in my age, being that young and having that type of mindset. Now that I'm a lot older, it's changed.
Really? Because I
Yeah,
remember we had this conversation.
yeah,
Okay, keep going, keep going.
yeah. It changed because I know the mentality of today, right, is to basically you weighing out your options
Okay.
and you're kind of narrowing it down, right? But then if they're doing the same thing you're doing,
Hmm.
no one's really putting in the effort. No one's really
Ooh.
putting in that time that is actually needed to actually build something.
Ooh.
So it's like you take away from the
Ooh,
quality,
that's good.
you
That's
you take
good.
away from the quality of actually getting to know someone,
Right.
because you're distracted and that person's distracted by others and what's going on. There's going to be a time where y'all may be chilling and kicking it. He may get a text of somebody else want to chill and kick it, at this
Right.
time, and that's kind of intervening with the moment. He's texting this person or she's texting this person while y'all together, and then now one or the other may feel some way about it. It's just too many potential problems,
Yeah.
and it's easier to just be narrowed down. Now, it's it became a lot easier now that I'm older because you kind of set a certain time for yourself.
Okay.
And I know we always have this notion that we don't want to waste time.
Ain't
But
nobody
in
got
all
time now.
right, but in all actuality, like, are you truly wasting time though? Given the fact that if you can learn something out of that situation, it
Right.
wasn't time wasted.
Right.
You got something out of it that you can apply moving forward. So that's my mentality now.
Okay, so in that case, you're not dating multiple people at the same time, which
Mm,
I kind of think you might should, but at the same time, I understand, gaining those emotional
mm,
attachments to multiple people,
mm.
right? Um, so, but then in that instance, then how do you choose which one you want to date? Are you just building friendships with these multiple people and then deciphering like who you want to spend more like quality time with on a one-to-one basis to establish that? Like how are we choosing?
Me personally, because I'm not a out there type of guy, it's very rare that people gonna come across me anyway.
Right.
So it's like I'm more patient than I was before.
Okay.
Like, I've
Patience is a virtue. Amen.
definitely,
Amen.
and through that patience, it allows time, and then through time, it reveals.
Mm,
It causes me to be able to see this person, how they think, how they make decisions, how
that's
they
good.
respond to life things that actually matter, the essential things that I care about. Those things, like I said, allow me to be patient in the growing process.
Mhm.
I don't want to jump and say, well, you're my girlfriend, I'm your
Ooh,
your
patience
boyfriend, and
in
we
the
have no
growing
substance.
process. That's good.
That's
That's
that's important.
good.
Like I said, back then,
Speak,
these
Ty.
were
Speak.
these were key principal things, right? Before anything could have transpired, they had to build something. It had to be
Right.
something there, right? It had to be some type of substance.
Yeah.
Um, and I based things based off currently where we are today. I try to be more careful because I've learned from not only my experiences but from people experiences around me.
Yes, that's
And
so important to do, to learn from people's experiences around you. Drop a bomb for that. Keep going.
and that's the wisdom that surrounds us. I know a lot of people say, "Well, I just got to go through it." No, like, no, you don't. You got wisdom, and
Yeah.
wisdom is around you. And if you can observe and learn from that, you can avoid a lot of heartache and pain. So,
Yes, yeah.
um,
I would have not bumped my head so many times if I had just listened. You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
Listened and learned from the people around me. You were one of the people around me, Lord. But that's a whole nother show, another topic for another show. But I will say and share with you guys um, that this season in my life has taught me to listen, not just listen to the people around me, my counsel, um, but also listen to my spirit,
Right.
truly listen to my spirit and allow that to guide me to make the right decisions in life. Amen. So can I ask you something?
Yeah, yeah.
This is what we here for, Ty.
Go ahead and dive in.
This is what we here for, Ty. Listen. All right. So there's so many questions in my head right now. I'm not gonna lie. So many questions in my head right now. Um, the main thing I want to ask right now, first and foremost, what are some characteristics in a woman that would attract you to her to begin with? Listen, ladies, listen. This is a good man. He's not speaking it for y'all necessarily, but I will tell you this is probably what most good men desire. Not all, but most. So, what would you say, Ty?
First and foremost has to be self-awareness.
Yeah, that's good.
That self-love has to be present.
So,
I believe I believe highly that it's definitely important that you're pouring into yourself, that you are feeding your soul, because at the end of the day, if you aren't doing that, you can really do nothing, or much things for me.
Right.
So it definitely
Ain't gonna
starts
love
with
me
you first.
properly if you don't love
Right.
yourself properly.
Exactly. So it
Amen.
definitely starts with you.
That's good.
Um,
That's good.
After that is pretty much how she respond to others. How do she go about dealing with others? That's pretty important. I believe that servitude is always, especially in a woman, is one of the most attractive things that a woman can possess, and we can say it as nourishing,
Yeah.
which brings a lot of comfort and embracement and those type of things that kind of bring you closer with that individual.
Right. If y'all ain't taking notes while y'all watching the show, I don't know what y'all doing with y'all life. Keep going. Self love, servitude. Amen. Amen. And even me picking my friends, I watch how they treat other people.
Yeah.
If you are treating other people, if you feel like you're high and mighty above them or you're not treating them right, I tend to not want to be around those type of people.
Right.
So I understand that completely. Just picking my circle, that matters to me, how you treat people. Amen. Yeah, so keep going.
Of course, this is one of the top 3 for me. Number 1, of course, is definitely have to have a relationship with God.
Amen.
That's so important, because if God created us and designed us, he have the manual to show us how to operate this body that he did give us. And I believe that that's important to actually understand. In my walk, that was what helped me to become the man that I am today.
Amen.
It is learning
Thank
what
you,
God's
Lord.
plan was for me.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you for giving us title down.
And
You had to go through
virtue,
a whole lot to get there.
a whole lot, a
You had to
whole
go
lot.
through a whole lot, Lord. We thank you for them. Amen. Amen.
Virtue being another. A woman who learns from her experiences, a woman who can assess her circumstances and respond accordingly. Those are definitely some attractive traits.
Right. It's not meaning that she's not going to make mistakes or go through
Right.
things, but
It's more
important to be able
consistent.
to learn from those things.
Right.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Trial and error, Jesus. All right.
I'm trying to make the list so imperfected
Yeah.
to make it. So,
You're good to go.
Right.
The reason why I'm writing it down is not just because I'm taking notes, but of
Mm.
course, We are creating collectively. We're creating a gating Jesus. It is a gateway. We're creating a dating game show, and I want to make sure our questions kind of cause self-reflection in these areas, with self-love, servitude, how you treat the people around you, who are you serving, you know what I'm saying, are you honoring God while you're serving, honoring your friendships, honoring your relationship with your family, all of that good stuff matters. That matters. And then relationship with God and virtue.
This may be the
Absolutely.
third thing, and probably it arguably could be any of the one or two, is emotional intelligence.
Oof, oof. I talk about that a lot. A lot. Y'all Shout out to Demarcus Morton. We talk about that all the time. Go ahead.
That's a huge thing
Yeah.
with today's women and dating, because again, we live in an age where a lot of those core value things aren't really cherished as much. So we dealing with a lot of hurt women. We dealing with a lot of women who haven't forgave, some women who's bitter, and a lot of those things kind of and damaged, truth be told, kind of
Powerful.
still in that way, without properly pouring and recovering from those past situations. So the emotional intelligence is definitely one, and through that it'll be easier to communicate with the woman. So those key things there is definitely something that I look at, modesty also being a part of that.
Love it. Love it.
Gotta have
She
self-respect.
can't wear that Sierra dress.
Gotta have self-respect.
I mean, I'm not wearing no hoodie over my swimsuit, y'all. I'll just drop a bomb for me on that. I'm not wearing no hoodie over my swimsuit.
Well, you know,
but I do understand.
right.
Honesty, absolutely. I understand.
setting matters too. If you are in a
Yeah.
swimsuit, but they do have swimsuits that are still appropriate.
Absolutely.
One thing in today's
Love
age
my
is trying to
shorts.
combat that whole thing, because I know it's a controversy type of topic.
Right.
But at the same time, self-respect isn't only going for you when you're dealing with a situation, but when you
Right.
are in a relationship, you do have to have some type of respect for that other individual.
And I agree.
And
And it's all about situational basis. If you're in
right,
a relationship, it's all about because you're representing him at the same time. So it's all about what he is comfortable with. If
right,
he's not comfortable with that, then you guys should discuss why, and then you should also honor it.
right,
Especially if you've already chosen him to be in that position in your life. So I'm someone I tend to just flow with my hubby wubby.
right,
I listen to him. I'm a little baby that listen. Okay, I listen to my hubby wubby, which is why it's very which is why I have to be very cautious of who I put in that position
right. Yeah.
in my life. So okay, I want to touch on the emotional intelligence part. So y'all, Jesus, y'all gotta bear with my personality, okay? Y'all getting all of me, so I hope that's okay. Yeah, but I'm someone who probably could be the poster girl for trauma. You know what I'm saying? I've been through so much, right? So much dealing with relationships, dealing with family, dealing with all type of things. However, I forgave so many people. I don't harbor any bitterness. I don't harbor any ill feelings. I wish the best for everyone. Everyone, I promise you this. Everyone who meant me harm. I wish them the best because I know the root of that was something. It was something else. It was their hurt. It had nothing to do with me.
Right.
I ain't do. You know what I'm saying? It was the root of that was something much deeper than me.
Right.
Okay, so I forgave them, and that forgiveness alone is what allows me to be able to move forward and look forward to something greater, look forward to something new. Amen. So emotional intelligence, yeah, that's important.
Very, very, Very.
So you touched a little bit on women forgiving, like I just said, and not harboring that bitterness, right? And a lot of people just being hurt. I know they say hurt people, but it's true. Unhappy people typically don't want other people to be happy,
Yeah.
right? So what advice would you give to those women, even men too? What advice would you give to those people who may have been really hurt in the past in their relationships? They may have experienced public humiliation, Jesus,
Right.
or being cheated on, or even domestic violence. What advice would you give them to be able to cut loose and move forward?
The first part is actually accepting the fact that it happened.
Yeah, ooh,
Um,
that's good.
I know a lot of people in denial because they don't like to take on certain titles because of what those titles entails. Um, Again, once you accept it, it kind of starts the process for you. After that, it's about putting in the work. If you truly love yourself, if you know, and I hear this from so many people,
Put the work in,
um,
y'all. Put the work in.
and I hear this from so many people that I miss the person I used to be. I'm not this person. I wasn't this person. Well,
After the trauma
right,
occurred.
right,
Okay.
right. And then they think back and then they look at themselves and they say, wow, I'm not what I used to be.
Right.
I'm definitely in a better place than
Right.
than where I started. So, and that comes with the territory. And in dating, you are going to get hurt. We get hurt in family, we get hurt by friends, etc. So dating is definitely one of those personal aspects of hurt. So definitely once you put in the work, and you kind of be committed to it, because now it takes commitment, because sometimes it's going to be easy to kind of
Ooh,
fall back into your
commitment
your
and
comfort zones.
consistency. Amen. Keep going.
And I've did it, like I said, myself, with being 5 years in my hurt. I wasn't looking to be dating anybody,
Because
whatever.
you
I
were
was just,
married
I
before
was
you
once
went
married.
through a
Yes, I was.
divorce. Yes, God.
And 5 years, during 5 years after that, I'm in my hurt. I'm not really concerned about women. I'm not even concerned about how I'm making them feel.
Yeah.
I'm only for me at this
Ooh.
point. And you can kind of do those things unknowingly, because it's not
Mhm.
that I did it intentionally. I just didn't consider, during that process.
That's powerful. That's powerful. A lot of times we always look at the other person, but we don't necessarily look at ourselves and have that
Mhm.
accountability. Like you weren't even considering, their feelings. And um, I'm trying to look at myself, Lord, and see if maybe I did the same thing.
Mm.
And there may have been times that I did. There absolutely may have been times that I did. But that's another story. If y'all really want to,
I can see
I
that.
don't
Don't
think y'all would like me
y'all
if
don't
I
let her
really
voice
got into
fool
it.
y'all, man. She got she got a little spice to it.
Oh, it's definitely a little fire up on in here. You know what I'm saying? But okay, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm gonna be very, very real. And maybe y'all won't like me after I say this. I don't know. But if I've learned this about myself, and that's okay, right, Lord? It's okay.
It is okay.
If I don't respect you in a certain light, I'm not going to listen. I'm going to literally, I'm a caterer. I pedicure my hubby wubby toes. Okay. I am that type of a woman for my mate. Um, I love to serve. Um, but as soon as there's any type of disrespect, or as soon as I don't see him in that light anymore, all of that is gone away.
Right.
All of that is gone away. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, I have to look at it like, why did you put this person in that position in the first place? You also have to look at it as ain't nobody perfect. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody perfect. But I think the worst part of that, or the main part of that, I should say, and I've shared this with y'all, is the fact that I had to, and it's how I know that God didn't select them for me. I had to guide them towards God.
Mm.
I had to be like, hey, can we watch this, TD Jakes episode, one person, I remember him saying, we could watch it, but we ain't gonna talk about it after. I don't feel comfortable. Like, what? you
Right.
know? Or can we pray together? We can pray together, but I don't like when you say Father. That makes me feel uncomfortable. What? You know what I'm saying? And it's probably because you have issues with your father. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It probably stems from that, which I understand. But my fault in that was picking people that could not elevate me in the spirit, me trying to elevate them, and then at some point me being like, me not respecting them,
Right.
so to speak, because and not treating them as a woman should treat a king because of that lack of respect.
Okay. Um, and me too.
It's honesty, God. Honesty. Hey, Tiffany Giles. Hey, girl. Hey, Simone. Yeah. Hey, she's a vibe. All right, y'all. Hey, Dewan. Love you. Okay.
I want to ask you.
Oh,
So
Jesus.
it won't be too hard.
Be honest.
So-
Be with it.
So, what do you say for the women who struggle with how to show respect to that man?
Ooh, cut him loose.
Mm.
Cut him loose. Like, why put him through that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't disrespect them necessarily, but I didn't give them the things that they were getting in the beginning. I was slowly pulling away. I'm not gonna, you know, um, cut the toes of a man that that I no longer see in that light. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But for those women, I would just say, if you're married, that's different.
Mhm.
If y'all in a long term relationship, that's different because we all go through hills and valleys and all of that stuff. And that might be a teaching moment for you.
Right.
But if you're in the beginning, in the dating, on the dating level, you still have time to choose that person to be in a position in your life. So take heed to that ahead of time, and and let them go and be honest, because that's not fair to them to be with someone. And this is where the cycle begins. It's not fair to them to be with someone who's not going to treat them again as they deserve to be treated as men. That's not fair to them. So let them go, be honest. Otherwise, now you have two people that are used to being together, two people who are kind of glued together, so to speak. She's not respecting him and treating him properly. And so he's eventually going to go elsewhere and seek that from elsewhere. And now you have this cycle of damaging each other in a relationship.
Do you truly believe that women know how to respect men
I do.
properly?
I do. I feel like if a woman respects herself properly first and she has obtained that self love first,
Mm.
then she can give that to a man. If she doesn't have that for herself, if she has trust issues, so to speak, still kind of lingering from the last relationship, then nah, she's going to take that into the newness of the new relationship or whatnot. Yeah. So we gotta heal first. I want everyone. Listen, I've done speed dating events, all of that. I want everyone to find their spouse. I want everyone to find their mate. You know what I mean? I want beautiful families and more strong, beautiful families. But we have to heal
Yeah.
first. Shout out to Peavy, Brittany Peavy. She always say, "Heal, sis." After experiencing trauma, heal, sis. Heal first, and then begin to date. It's not fair to that person to give them a part of yourself. Give them. They deserve the best of you. So become the best of you first. Become the best of you first. You know what I mean? So yeah. Yeah.
I agree with those sentiments.
Yeah. I always know when he agrees with me because he actually says I agree. And then when he don't agree, he just be quiet.
No, I'll be like, I don't agree with that. I don't do
Yeah.
that.
He just be quiet. So yeah, Ty, man. Let's see what else I got for you. How do you? Ooh, I got a couple for you too. Real quick, we good on time. All right. Okay.
I should have
Lord.
brought my index. See, I couldn't find some indexes in time, so I had
Do you
something
want to
for you.
write some stuff
But
down?
I'm just freestyling.
Oh, not. If you need to, go ahead. If you need to, if you need to. Otherwise, let the spirit flow. So, really quick, how do you let someone down who is very, very interested in you, but you're not interested in dating them back on a long-term basis?
I actually had this a lot.
I'm sure you have.
Recently was more um, different and mature. So I'm gonna talk from that sense.
Okay.
Um, there was this one time where I was dating. I really hate to use the word dating, but
You were getting to know
yeah, we was
someone.
getting to know one another.
Yes, deciding if you wanted to date them on that level or
Yeah.
not. All right.
And it wasn't that she did anything wrong. Like she was like consistent. She showed signs of virtue. She was patient, very understanding, can communicate well. Um, but it was like a distant thing that kind of played a big part in it.
Where do you think that? Oh, long distance.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I remember that one.
yeah, so it was like
He be telling me stuff, y'all.
it was like, I felt guilty, in a sense because I couldn't give, like how you said, that best, effort. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, she pretty consistent and she's handling this pretty well, but I have a lot going on here. Um, I'm kind of tied up in these things, and because she's kind of like not here,
Yeah.
that's kind of like make things difficult for me to kind of give her that time I know she deserves.
Mm,
And I had a talk with her at a point where it got to, we had a talk, and I told her, it's not. I know it's cliche, right? Be like, it's not you, it's me, right?
Me.
But I mean, she was
It's you.
right. She was very reluctant towards it because she said like you a good man.
You're a good
I
man,
haven't
and women will be patient for a good
and
man,
I
absolutely.
respected that,
Yeah,
but I
but-
respected her in so much. It was like you like if this was any other time, we probably would have been locked up, locked in. But at the same time, like it's not. And
You deserve what I can
right,
give you
you
right
deserve it
now.
right now. Like
Right.
you're ready.
Right.
And I don't want to hold that up for you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was kind of like that moment for me. And we both understood, so we decided, and it was cool. There's no
Yeah.
issues. It was very mature.
Um, I was watching something, and I was watching a podcast actually, and he's a pastor as well. Okay. And he has his own podcast. Shout out to, I think it's In the Basement. I love that podcast. I love that podcast. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. But he said he saw this woman in his early 20s, right? And he was like, that's my wife. That's my wife. That's my wife. And then, they dated for a little bit. It didn't work out. And then he was like, God, you said that was my wife, though. I know you said that was my wife. And he said the Holy Spirit was like, no, you misunderstood me. Sometimes the Holy Spirit speaks and we misinterpreted what he's actually saying. Not that he ain't lying, but
Right.
you misunderstood it. And he said, no, that is the qualities basically that your wife will possess. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes that's what it is. She might be looking at you like, he's my husband. I will wait for him. He is a good man. But maybe you possess the qualities, the characteristics that her true husband will possess.
Yeah.
Unless y'all link back up later in time. I don't know.
I doubt it.
Ain't nobody got time. Only God got time. You never know.
She kind of swayed over a little bit. And I was like, I think I made a good decision. I made a good
Oh,
decision
see,
for me.
time.
Time. That's why I was like,
Ooh.
it wasn't that it was so
Holy
bad. It was just a
Spirit.
modesty thing for me. That was
Okay.
huge. So it was like, yeah, that would have been a
What you
problem
mean,
later.
Ty? Was she posting pictures that you ain't like?
It was, I mean, at first it was like well,
She was like, I'm single now.
she's very, very beautiful woman.
Yes,
Very,
I remember.
she has
she's
a
gorgeous.
has a figure and everything,
Yes,
right?
Lord.
And it
You
was
can't
like,
help that.
right, and that's cool. That's
Yes,
cool.
God.
Prior though, leading up into this, what even allowed me to even be, interested in way as well was the fact that she didn't just post her, body. It
Right.
was more of like all face shots and things like that. And I
And
asked
some
her
people
one
don't
day,
post their bodies. Some people post their outfits.
Sometimes that's the case, but I mean,
Yeah. Or some
we
people are
we
proud
know
of their
modern
bodies at
motives.
the same time too, especially if they're working out and getting in shape. So,
Yeah, but we know modern motives though. So
ladies, I got y'all. I got y'all, ladies.
so I asked her one day, like, why don't you ever, post about it? She was like, well, I don't want people to see me, for that. She's like, I know
Absolutely,
what I
I agree with
have,
that.
and
Yeah,
I know what it can cause, and
yeah,
that's not my motive or, my
right.
intentions. I'm like, okay, that's great,
Respectable,
right? Like I can
absolutely.
highly respect that.
And usually things
Afterwards,
cause that though,
right.
especially if she had past experience where people are only solely looking at her for that,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
And I think for the most part that's could have been the case too.
Yeah,
But man was groveling over her, even about through the face straight
yeah, she's
shots on the book. So
gorgeous.
she
Absolutely gorgeous
and
woman. I saw her, y'all. She's beautiful.
so
I'm
afterwards,
gonna
after
post my
we had
pictures
that
too. Go
conversation,
ahead.
funny. Afterwards, we had that conversation. I started to just see more revealing,
Mm.
and
She
I
might
just was
she
curious.
might have felt some type of way. You might have, what I'm saying, hurt her just a little bit. That rejection can hurt a woman's self-esteem a little bit.
I remember she was hiding it very well if that was the case. And I don't think
Yeah.
I was, aggressive or assertive, very passive and
Yeah.
straightforward though with what I was saying. I didn't want to misinterpret anything,
Right.
So
Which was for her good at the
right,
end of the day.
right,
And I respect that. And that's I hope men are taking a lesson from that because that's what we need. Don't string us along and then we see you in another relationship, at the
right,
basketball game
mm,
and now we trying to figure out what's going
right,
on. Just be
right,
real with us.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So
And then after that, it got a little more revealing. So I asked him, like, I was
what's
like, so
going
what changed then
on?
and now?
Yeah.
Between then and now,
You ask
it was,
questions.
yeah, it was just a lot of excuses. Because I mean, this what helped me to understand women, the
Yeah.
mindset, the where the heart is, etc. So I'm an
Yeah.
observer, so I like to learn in the process. So
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this sound like just excuses, not really valid, reasons. So I was more so
Oh,
happy
was
that I dodged, that kind of problem later.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Again, do you think, I'll say this, do you think men and women receive rejection differently? Because a lot of
Yes,
women are shooting their shots these days.
that is true. That
Yeah.
is true.
So,
God made us conquerors. Men by nature,
y'all,
we are
sometimes
conquerors.
y'all just go after things that just don't want y'all, just to, you know what I
Right.
mean? Just to see if y'all can get it, which
Yeah.
is absolutely horrible.
But that's the conquering
It's
aspect.
horrible.
We had a lot of wars. And
It's horrible, y'all.
I
God,
mean,
take that out of them right now, Jesus. In regards to when it comes to dating women,
right,
don't, because I look at that like there's a lot of good women out here, who may be celibate and maybe, just focus on their self love like I am. And just focused on, I'm focused on my purpose and walking
right,
in my purpose right
right,
now. I do believe that my husband will find me in the process of me walking in my purpose. But a husband is not necessarily my goal right now.
right,
It's my purpose. But when you're in that space, a lot of times these men, you know, um, that are used to getting every single woman that they want,
mm,
they look at you as a challenge. And so now they're like doing all these things to try to get you. And that's just not right. And thank God for my developed discernment. Thank God
right,
that, I'm at a higher level that, now than I was before, where I can look at that and really determine, like, did you really, like, what is your true intentions here, sir? And for the most part, I can tell that it's the game, so to speak. It's they're seeking that satisfaction of getting something that is unattainable to them, not knowing. And I try to explain this to people. It's only unattainable to you because I know you ain't my husband.
right, right,
It has nothing to do with you. You're a great man. You're a great man. You're a great man. It has nothing to do with you. It's simply that I know me and I know what's for me. And I don't want to, honestly, I would be doing you a disservice for, for allowing that, or, pursuing that or whatever, allowing a relationship, giving it a chance, knowing what I know,
right,
knowing that that ain't it, And I always say this, because we finna get into this too. Thank you, Lord. I always say this, like, Um, if how can I say this, Lord? I'll just ask you this question. I'll just ask you this question instead, okay? How do you friend zone someone? Like, I know I'm trying to like think of how, I think I went blank for a second, but like, how do you like if you develop a relationship with someone, right? You want to be friends with them, right? You want to maintain that friendship, but you deem them as not someone that you necessarily want to be with in a relationship.
Right.
Like, is that okay? Because, or is that like,
I think that's something that you can explain to me because
What?
women friend zone men way more than men friend zone women.
I mean, okay, so for me, because like I said, because I know that this isn't my husband, I know that isn't that, but at the same time, I feel like our relationship as friends can be powerful. I feel like I have something to offer you as a female friend, and you have something to offer me as a male friend, right? So, is that unfair to them though? Can y'all turn it off seeing us in that light?
I think that's predicated on the other party because if you know where you are within yourself, about it, then they will have to come within grips and the acceptance of that. The thing about men, though, in those cases, that when they do get friend zone, this is for the most part, this stuff become dangerous with relationships when that woman gets into a relationship
Mm.
because some men are patient, highly patient. So they play the
Like
long ball game,
lions, just
right? And they wait
yeah.
till basically you're in that vulnerable place, that you
Mm.
may be having a situation with your
Isn't that more
guy
like a predator?
uh, of a lesser sense.
Come on,
Right.
I'm mad I went blank for that second because I'm still trying to figure out what I was gonna say, Lord. Come on, Tom.
You might as well,
Get
man.
into
Get in.
it. Predator mindsets. Let's go. It's not a predator. Okay, so go ahead, Tom. What do you feel? Okay, go ahead, Ty.
I s- yeah.
Okay.
I think
just
it's of a
fixated,
lesser
y'all.
a lesser degree, right? Because motive do play a little bit in it because of the fact that the intention that he has on the inside. Now, for the woman's sake,
Why can't the intention just be her happiness? And okay, but go ahead.
but I told you, men are natural conquerors. We
Okay.
can't ignore that factor because that play a huge factor. Like for instance,
I
men,
love Toad's smile right now, y'all.
men with their buddies, right? We high
Right.
five, and it's a like if it's a girl that's kind of rare, kind of hard to get, and one of us got it, I already got that already. It's like it's
Right.
a conquering thing.
And see, that's not cool. That's not cool to us.
Right?
That's one side of it. What's the other side, Tom? Let me hear this. Y'all trying to conquer the good ones.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Well, okay. Hold on. Make sure my mic on.
And ladies, to let you know, kind of listen to this because if you're easily conquerable,
Easily conquerable. That's rude.
I'm just
Rude.
saying.
That is rude.
Hey, if he a conqueror, he getting it. I'll just-
Alright,
Just take
so-
heed. That's all I'm saying.
I want to go back a little bit.
Let's do it.
Now, why do you friend zone a man again?
Because you determine that he's not your husband. In your spirit, you have determined that you don't want to move forward with anything more,
Okay,
but you
stop
still
right there.
want them as a friend. You
Stop
still
right
love
there.
them as a person.
Stop right there.
I did.
That's a one-sided thought process, right?
Okay.
That's how you feel.
True.
It's not guaranteed he feels the same way.
I know. So is it unfair to do that to him?
Yes and no. And here's the
Okay.
reason why I say that.
I'm listening.
Okay.
Drop a
Ty brought-
pre-bomb for Tom. Okay.
Ty brought up something about the fact that we're patient, right?
Yes.
Men
Very.
who know the value of a woman is willing to wait for that woman to be prepared for that step in their life. You see, when a man is out to conquer a woman, if he's not able to conquest that, he moves on to the next one. We as men know that just naturally there's a 12-to-1 ratio for men to women. So if we're only out here to satisfy the flesh, we're not going to waste our time on you too much longer because we know that we can get those needs satisfied somewhere else.
That's a really good point.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. In one shape or form. But when there's a guy who truly sees you as the way you're seeing you, Because I know for a fact, let's use you for an example.
Ah,
You want people to see you. No, you want people to see you as a complete individual.
I do.
You want
I've
people to
always
see
desired
you
that.
emotionally, spiritually, mentally,
Yes, I do.
long before they ever consider seeing you in the physical.
I promise you,
Mhm.
I would
Okay.
love for that to be done. Absolutely.
True.
There's so
But if
much
there's
more
a
to me.
guy who do see that first and see the physical last, a lot of times you don't think he's husband material yet.
Nuh-uh.
No, hold on. Let me
That is not
finish.
it.
Hold
Okay,
on.
so
Let me
for me, it's
finish.
different.
I'm about to
Go
say
ahead.
it's yeah, because you looking
You-
from it in your perspective,
Looking
but
from
for
your
women,
perspective.
yeah.
Okay.
You ask
Come
why.
on, talk to
You
me,
ask.
girl. Let's go.
You ask why men still pursue it. I'm giving you your answer.
Okay.
He sees you as more than that. You're just not there mentally to see yourself in that same perspective. So he's willing to wait because he knows the value of you already. God may have talked to him and said, yo, that's your queen. That's why she's in your life. That's why some men are very okay with being friends with a woman and being patient for when the time is right for him to be able to pursue you. It's not always predatorial. We look at that from that perspective because we do have so many lustful individuals that are predatorial who mask their pursuit
That's true.
in the same light as those who are pursuing you in the name of God. Henceforth, why? A lot of times women natural defense is they don't trust this man and his intentions and will quickly put a good man in the friend zone. And it's not that they're doing it because he's not a good man. He's in the friend zone because he brings up a lot of familiarities of a predatorial individual. Therefore, you don't give him the opportunity. That's why for a lot of women, putting a man in the friend zone first, as y'all like to refer to him at, is y'all safe space. That way, if he is only for the flesh, he should fade out over time on his own.
That's true.
But
Some men will just hold on.
right.
Lord.
But what ends up happening sometimes is now that you've gotten to know the real him, you've
Right.
opened yourself up to him, and you're now vulnerable to him. You value the friendship more than the possibility of the relationship because you fear that this relationship is not going to be successful and you're going to lose one of an individual you truly value.
Okay.
So a lot of times y'all won't even take the risk
That's
of the
true.
relationship.
In some cases, that's true.
Okay.
That's true. Because even I told you, Ty, I want you in my life forever. You know what I'm saying?
Comma,
So,
but if just use it as an example,
Right.
I don't know if my boy would do this or not, but if he happens to get that message one day that says, "Hey, that's your queen. That's the next person you're supposed to be," you may fight that.
now, I agree with you.
I'm not trying to hook y'all up or anything.
No,
I'm just
this
using
my
y'all as an
brother.
example.
This is my brother.
But
I
sometimes,
really
but that
want
happens
him in my life forever.
Right.
So,
but what
yeah.
I'm saying is because you've already made your decision
Right.
of what his place is in your life.
Right.
If he wants to take it to the next level, you're instantly going to reject it because you don't want to break that scenario, that bond, that situation you created when at the end of the day, that may be the mate that God has been trying to send to you for the whole time.
Well, Ty, the guy couldn't handle my personality anyway. He knows I'm a whole lot. Okay?
But
he will reject that. All right.
Here's
You
the
know
thing.
better.
Here's the thing. You know, and you're doing me a favor right now because you're actually doing it on air.
Right.
You're rejecting the concept before you can even look at it from both perspectives. Because as long as we've had this conversation, you have given me 3 different reasons why you feel like you could not even give that a chance. This is a common thing a lot of women do, period, when they have that individual who is phenomenal for them, but they don't want to cross that line of that friendship.
So here's the thing with me. I'm being
And I'm not, and I know Ty is where y'all are, but I only use Ty as an example because I knew you were going to do that.
Right.
Because a lot of women do not want to sacrifice the friendship in the name of a successful relationship.
And I get that. So, and I agree with that. And I believe
And I
that's
wasn't supposed to
probably
be
true
talking
in
today.
a lot of instances. But I'm also going to tell you, to be honest with y'all, and, you know, from my perspective, I can name 10 very good men. Okay. 10 very good men who will see me in that light. Right.
Mhm.
But Lachelle is a very layered individual. Right. I am. So I know me and I know who all of me would be good for. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So it's not to take away of what these 10 good men have. It's not to, that's why I always say like a man should never feel rejected. He should never feel some type of way when a woman says like no. He should never feel some type of way because he doesn't really know the why factor in the no. And it
But
has nothing to do with him.
but take in consideration a no
We can go all type of places with
without an
this.
understanding
True.
is a rejection.
And usually I just be no. I just say no, and I'll be like, the why is typically because I know me,
Right.
and I
but
know what's
but
good.
you,
You know
you,
what I'm
you
saying?
have to
Right.
understand though, to
typically- and
you,
so them, they
to
might
you
not
that's a
understand.
logical answer.
Right.
But a
I
no
get
without an
that.
understanding is what causes problems.
Right.
So if you tell someone, no, I don't think this will work out because I know me,
Right.
now you've added more questions
As to
than
why.
answers
That's true.
to him. Like, well, what do you mean?
So how do we say no?
I mean,
And-
I'm not
and
saying
is
you
friend
saying
zoning okay,
friend zoning is
or
a
is it
necessity.
toxic?
No,
Okay.
friend zoning is a necessity. Okay, I'm gonna be blatantly honest with you. Today's society, we already have a big issue where people of opposite sex can't be friends.
And that
It's
shouldn't be like
and it
that.
shouldn't be like that. That's why I said it's problematic that people of the opposite sex can't be friends
Yeah.
without something being a problem. It's like if Ty is in a relationship and the bond that you two have, that woman may feel, what's the word I'm looking for?
I would want to be friends with
Threatened.
his partner.
Threatened. There we go. Thank you very much, kind sir. Feel threatened because the bond that you two have is greater than the bond they have, but they don't understand that Ty and his woman's bond is completely different than y'all's.
Right.
The reason why y'all are even together could be because of you. And yes, you may be an individual who wants to be friends with her because you want the triangle of the unity of your friendship to be strong no matter what. She may not be accustomed to that. She may not have had friends in the past that she could lean on
Right.
like that. Then again, or she may have had friends that have betrayed her.
Right.
So she don't trust you based on past
Based on
trauma.
her experiences.
Okay?
Yeah.
So therefore, it makes a constant conflict with her and Ty for no reason.
Right.
All because she got stuff that's, things she got to work through,
Yeah.
even though you want to help her out in regards to that. So people don't want to be friends with the opposite sex. Also, let's be honest, a man who 9 times out of 10 want to be friends with a woman who he has some kind of vibe with. That's the word
Right.
that's the word we use in this day and age is vibe.
Right.
That they have a vibe with. But that vibe sometimes can grow into like, this is what I dealt with before. This was all trash. That's why I'm not with them. But even though my friend is over here and her vibe is phenomenal, I feel more comfortable with her. I want to see if we can go here, only to a certain extent. Sometimes you have those like, ugh, I'll never look at you like that. Yes, for you too, right?
Family.
But-
Family.
But that's only a rarity,
I
to
mean,
be
he
honest
is
with you.
fine. I'm not gonna
Okay,
say
it
he
is a
Appreciate
rarity.
that.
But that's
I
a
say
that's a
that's-
rarity
He's
though.
my brother.
Right, but that's a
my
rarity
brother.
though. You grew to the
I have
point.
many fine
You
brothers.
went through things. Ty was there while you were going through there. You created a
Yes.
bond
You
because
were
of
there
that.
too, Tom.
Because of that
Appreciate you.
bond, you'll never look at him in that light. I'm not talking about
And
me.
you
I'm not
fine
here.
too.
I know.
It's
I'm
the
fine.
gray.
It's cool. I'm
It's the
great.
gray beard for me.
And, see, look, chill out, fam. Chill out. I haven't accepted my grades like that yet. But see, I'm not even supposed to be talking. But this type of scenario is what plays out often. So on one side of the coin, women have difficulties having male friends because after a while, the male tends to realize the greatness of the woman and sees the woman in the light that she should be seen in, but she doesn't want to break that friendship.
Right.
Then a lot of women can't have male friends because of the assumptions and the threateningness that in her relationship becomes. I go out here and I kick it with my homegirls all the time, but my mate, or reverse that, my homegirls go out and kick it with me all the time, and we be out having a grand old time. I'm a semi-popular person from what I keep hearing. I don't think nobody knows me. I don't think people know me, but apparently they do. So it's like, oh, you going out with Tone and them again? Like, why are you going out with Tone and them?
Why don't everybody me out?
Because you don't go places we go.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
just be honest. Plus, when we go out, it's always a sporadic thing. We don't plan shit.
I'm sure. they're fine.
We don't plan
Sure.
nothing. We just pop up like, hey, man, I'm hungry. You hungry? All right, cool. And then we end up where we at. Sometimes the guys don't want to come. Okay. Like, I don't want to be around your friends, but then you're upset that she's around us. So it has to be a gang of females in order for a gang of guys to be around, because you're threatened that one of these guys is going to replace you because you're inadequate in certain things that she needs. Okay. And that becomes problematic. So you tend to can't have male friends and you can't have female friends because there's so many internal conflicts and lack of self-love between individuals that folks can't be friends like they're supposed to be. So now you can't build that relationship. So when you finally find that person, like, this is my friend, I don't care nobody say we ride or die, you always have to battle something. Like with my kid's mother, I run a network that at any given time can be predominantly women.
Yeah.
I don't purposely choose beautiful women. It just happens. Okay.
Shout out to all the beautiful women
But
on the TDR
there
network.
could be a point in time. One thing I do
Amen,
love about her
amen.
was she was never worried or threatened by them. She was like,
Amen.
oh, okay. I already know your type.
And you have a
So
lot
I
of
know,
beautiful women friends as
right.
well.
So I know that none of these are really too much of a threat, but I'm still going to step my game up so you can't be distracted. Kind of one of those situations.
That's the important part right there.
Right. So she takes away the
Ooh.
distraction. So at the time, we did things together more so, but I would also come home and let her know, well, this is what I had to deal with today. This is what's going on here. That level of communication at home, as long as that stayed solid, nothing outside the door became a problem.
Can I ask you a question?
You can ask whatever you want to show.
Okay, so I'm alright. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm cute. I don't know what other people think, but I think I'm all right.
You
right?
are a very attractive
Thank
young
you.
woman.
I think I'm all right. I do okay. Not everybody thinks so, and that's okay.
Come on,
Everybody
But as
has-
long as I think so, I'm self-love. As long as I
Right.
think so, that's all that matters. For real, for real. I ain't everybody type, and that's all right. As long as I love me, and I do love me. So my question is, with me, what if I'm just kind of painting a picture. If I'm in a situation, I'm in a relationship with someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of beautiful female friends like y'all. How should I handle that? You know, as a woman, should I try to befriend these different women, or should I, you know, like respect their space and allow their relationships to be their own?
You want
Like,
to
what
go
do
first,
y'all-
Ty, or you want me to go first?
You got the floor, man. Now,
You sure?
No, Ty, go
No, I
ahead.
just-
Ty, go ahead.
because it's different
You can end it off with Tom.
avenue and different points because of the fact that, again, we look at the woman, because I had this problem in my marriage.
I'm sure both of
actually.
y'all did. That's
So-
why I'm wondering, like, how literally, how should I be? How do y'all want me to be? You know what I'm saying?
Well, for one, kind of how what you said, right? It equates back to self-love. Self-confidence is a big thing, huge thing.
Right.
Then it equates back to what he said, because again, and I've so many women, I try to tell this, they have this notion in their mind that they don't have to still compete, even when you have a relationship with a certain man, right? They don't feel like they need to compete with other women. Every day he walk out that door, it's competition. You know what I'm saying? Now, he may not be viewing that in his mind, but the subconscious pick things up, and we still men at the end of the day. Not saying he's going out to intentionally look, but
Right.
sometimes you got people operating in certain spirits that
Yeah.
can come and approach. Like, I was married one time, and I kid you not, I'm walking down the street this way. It's 3 women walking this way. One of them from the group grabbed me, hugged me, and grinded me. Didn't even know me. Complete stranger. I'm walking on the street.
Oh yeah,
And I had to push her off. So
Good.
It's
Cancel
those
it.
type of things that is transpiring.
That happened.
And I'm going back home, you know, and I'm talking with her like, look, this is woo, woo, woo. Like, I understand what type of spirit is operating here. We make sure we good here. You know what I'm saying? Some women don't take that as serious. So that's a part of covering that I
Right.
spoke to you about.
Yeah.
But also too, realizing too that you do need to keep yourself up. You do need to step your game up if you know he's fit to be around. There's a lot of testosterone and estrogen around.
And do that for yourself, for your own self-love. You know what I'm saying? Like, always be that woman for you. And that's what he's going to admire, right? That's what y'all gonna love. Y'all gonna love her self-confidence. You're gonna love that she keeps herself up. It's not like she's getting married and she's just like, oh, I ain't gotta do nothing no more. Like, no, y'all are continuously attracted to someone who tries, you know.
My thing behind it is I would want you to be willing and open and being a part of it. And if you don't, be acceptive of the fact that this may, you know, still going without you, but we keep open communication on what's going on. Be open to hearing about, you know, what transpired the day, etc. Be open to those things, and we should be good. again, it's a sensitive topic because of what the day and age we live in today. Women are not built the same way they was before.
That's
It was a
true.
lot easier to kind of navigate these things prior than where it is now because of the world we live in today. And you just got access to women and men everywhere in
True.
everything you do. You can't really avoid it.
So
So
your answer in that aspect is for the woman to keep herself up and have her maintain her self confidence and all of that.
be willing and to understand or be a part of what's going on. Because
Okay.
there was a point where my
Don't be
ex-wife, she
blind
wanted
to it and just be like,
exactly.
okay.
Because she wanted me to not do these things because it was a woman, right? But
Right.
but the type of heart that I had, I didn't care who you were. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You could be woman, man, child, etc.
That's that part, because I know I'm going to marry someone like that
Right.
that loves people. You know what I'm saying? I know I am. So that's important. Know who your husband is. If he's that person that loves everybody, then know that that's what it is. First and foremost, is his heart that's reacting to his woman, not his other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Because at that
So,
point I invited, like, hey,
Right.
come with me. We can
Right.
do it together. And it was like, nah, no, you just don't want me to do it. Okay, now it's just more of an insecurity thing. And we'll kind of get into that because I want him to give his answer too. Because I got a question that I want to ask you as a woman.
Okay, insecurities. All right, Tone. Question.
Can you
So
read the
how
question?
how
Okay.
would you handle how am I as a woman supposed to handle if we're together, we're in a relationship, you have these beautiful female friends, how do you want me to react to that? Like, should I be trying to build a friendship with these ladies that are your friends, or should I be respecting y'all space
Okay.
and
I'm
boundaries?
I'm gonna be blatantly honest with you.
You always are.
Okay. I need you to be mindful of the movements of everybody involved in the conversation.
Okay.
Okay. Men are not the most intelligent when it comes to reading signals
Okay.
and reading the room.
Or do y'all be ignoring stuff? But
A little bit A, a little bit of B.
Some can.
Yeah, we'll say a little bit of A, a little bit of B. Okay. Sometimes we're oblivious to some of
Play
the signals
dumb
and
with me.
things
All right.
that go on. Other times we just, like you said, we'll play dumb where we're like, we know what she on, but we ain't on that
Right.
with you.
Right.
Be
Which is
mindful.
good.
Be mindful. As a woman and your intuition, I always tell a woman, go with your first cup. If you feel like this relationship or this friendship can be problematic, address it. Address it in a more calm, mindful kind of a place. I feel like every relationship should have moments of conversation, of honesty, whether you do it every single day. One thing I used to love about my mom and dad is they will have coffee talk in the morning.
I love that.
And coffee talk in the morning just consists of them just sitting down talking about everything that's going on,
Mhm.
whether it was something they said on the news, whether it was work-related gossip, or it was just them basically, in so many words, early podcasting.
Conversations
whatever.
of honesty.
Conversation of honesty. This is a moment in time where you're in a more neutral space and you get them and you ask them. It's like, hey, I seen, you and Michelle, y'all been friends for a long time. How'd that relationship start? Like, what's the friendship there? Learn the history, because sometimes friendships are trauma bonds.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're just, we grew together as an individual, and other times there may be intent.
Yeah.
And bring it up. I was watching the last episode of Grownish before it goes on its break. And one of the biggest things that stood out from that episode is Junior and a young lady who early in the season kind of had a thing for each other are now just friends only. But everybody around them knew that their connection and their friendship was a lot more than just that. But because, like you said, your friendship was more important, they were doing things on a day-to-day basis that anybody on the outside looking in would assume that they were the couple and not the two individuals they were really dating. So as they got ready to plan their summer, because they're done with school, Junior's girlfriend broke up with him. And she broke up with him because she felt that their friendship, so the girl he was friends with, was a little bit too inappropriate for her, and she couldn't deal with that from a distance. Because as those two are apart and you don't have that time to spend together,
Right.
you're not going to stop the bond and the space that you and girl B have already created.
Mm.
And it had nothing. And the crazy part was it wasn't until after the breakup happened and he goes back to his circle of friends, okay, his
Right.
honest circle of friends, and he tells them, "Hey, me and my girl just broke up because they feel like me and girl B are a little bit too close," and like that's a shock to me. And they was like, "No, it's not. This is obvious. This is not news to us. We seen it." There was even one of his best guy friend was like, "Yeah, I'm actually surprised y'all stayed together as long as y'all did." So sometimes we don't pay attention to see what's going on, but you as the girl, find out what that is. Find out where she is in this. Why is y'all bond so strong?
Okay.
Because it could be something traumatic, or it just could be there's a relationship there that neither one of them has openly admitted to. Because sometimes just having that conversation was like, "Hey, I think Lachelle kind of likes you, fam. I think she's actually not liking you as like she wants to be in a relationship with you, but I feel she's gotten comfortable with the amount of things that you two do together that she won't pursue her own relationship because you're filling 97% of the void."
Wow.
And that happens sometimes.
That definitely does.
That does happen sometimes. So I'm not telling you to break up the friendship of that, but
Right.
be a little bit more aware, because now they can have that conversation where it's like, "Hey, I don't think maybe we need to minimize our socializations,
Boundaries.
set boundaries." That's really where I'm going with all of this. At the end of the day, find out what his boundary levels are with his friends, because some women can be disrespectful in the boundaries,
Yeah.
and other ones can respect them once they know what it is.
Is this someone that was friend zoned previously, or is this a real friend that can probably help our relationship?
It actually both can, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I feel like more so find out what his boundary levels are.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, I have so many women here on my staff.
Right.
One of the biggest things I have told everybody whenever we first started working is I don't date people I work with. And I have people on the staff before
I don't date people on the show.
where we've had the conversation, "Oh, you're a handsome young man." It's like, "Hey, you good?" And as the shows are recorded, conversations are being had, and we're talking back and forth over the table or just talking in general, we come to find out that we have a great connection. But I put it on the table like, "Hey, I don't cross these boundaries, because when you're on my network, you work for me. One,
Right.
you're not going to Me Too me. I ain't big enough to be Me Too, but you ain't going to do it.
It's
Prepare
coming.
myself.
It's coming.
Two,
Well, not the Me Too part, but the big.
right, right. I'm like, damn, fam, just put that out there. No,
Clarification.
and two,
Clarification
if
on
I
the
set these
podcast.
boundaries early, it becomes a more respectable boundary.
Yeah.
By setting those boundaries, now
You
the women
respect it
who
as
work
a leader. Yeah.
now, exactly, I'm respected as a leader, and now this becomes a safe space.
Amen. Space
Oh
safe.
yeah, I
That's
don't
why
want to
I'm
be
here.
on insert other network over here because the men all like this. But when I come over here to TDR, all the men are respectful. There's people in their spaces. One can be playful at a time, but it's still a safe space.
Yes.
Tone is a phenomenal leader. He's a phenomenal listener.
Yes, he is.
My business now has more of a positive energy to it
Yes, it does.
because I won't cross those boundaries. And then number two, whoever I'm at home with, they don't have to worry either, because they know, even though Tone is at the studio from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., nobody during that 12-hour time frame affects what's going on at home.
Right.
That's good.
And that's creating that boundaries.
Boundary.
And when she met all the staff, and when she's met all the people I work with, because she will be at events too in these particular scenarios, she'll see how everybody interacts. And so when I say this person is my biggest headache, they know why I say that.
It's not me, is it?
If you were my headache, I would have said you might. Those who are my headaches know that they are my headaches. I have told them they are my headaches. It's a different, but they're not a headache in a bad way. I always tell people that. So boundaries.
Yeah.
Find out what his boundaries are
Right.
in these scenarios.
Right.
And then during this time frame of figuring out their boundaries, establish whether or not this is an individual who's good for your soul.
That's good.
Because
That's
him and
very
her
important. Very
can have a
important. Good
connection that
soul.
matches them, but you and her might not. So don't force
How do you
yourself in
handle
those
that?
spaces. You basically allow them to operate in their spaces. They are, but you set
And just trust your
limitations.
partner.
No, you set limitations with your trust. I trust that you and girl C ain't doing A, B, C, D. Me and her kind of, we don't vibe well. So if there's an event or things that are going on, that she's throwing, I'm not going to go unless I have my own support.
Right.
So let's say, for an example, you and Ty, you're going somewhere. There's a girl there that don't like you. You're going because you're supporting Ty.
Why would she like me?
People have their reasons. Maybe you remind her of her mother, and that rubs her the wrong way.
Jesus.
Hey, you gave me a reason. I had to create one real quick. So you might not go to the events Ty goes to with girl C, but she'll say, hey, and Ty's like, I really want you to come. All right, I'll come if Simone can come.
Absolutely.
This is my
Hey,
buffer.
Simone.
You see that? That's my buffer, where if this is feeling awkward, I have this right here to
That's
balance
true.
me out.
Okay.
So you can do that as well too. You're still supporting him. He's happy you're there. He knows the vibe because y'all set the limitations.
Okay.
So when you're there, Ty knows, like, I can't focus on my friends so much.
Mhm.
I have my woman I got to focus on.
Yes, you do.
I don't know why I
Lord.
keep putting this in the air like I'm really, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
using
understand.
y'all.
I understand. I'm
Using
with you.
y'all too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's easier for the listeners to follow if I put the
Yeah.
two together.
Mm-hmm.
But
He's my
now,
brother, though, and I'm his
but
sister.
now,
I would get on his nerves in real life.
Real life.
see how she keeps,
Whole real life.
see how she keep doing that.
Well, she know
I
me too.
would.
That's for that
Doing
regard. So that's
Okay.
why,
I
it's
know.
like it makes sense.
But the thing about that is now Ty is at a crossroads, and this is a lot of things that men come up with and women make the mistake. Ty has a friend he's known for a long time. They have a bond that is unmatched.
Mhm.
Ty has a woman who he loves dearly. In his heart and mind, he's already said, this is his
Dating.
future.
Right.
This is his future. Y'all two don't link.
Right.
A lot of women that are dating this day and age
Mhm.
say that hoe got to go.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, because they don't, because of their past, like you said, experience.
Whatever their excuse is,
Right.
she got to go. You remind me of my mama. I don't like. She remind me of my mama. I don't like her. She got to go.
Right.
But Ty's like, why do I got to let my friend go? So now there's a constant conflict with you because of her.
Right.
This is where boundaries become very important, because if you explain to him why you don't like her, and then she explains to Ty why she don't like you, y'all may come to the conclusion that y'all don't like each other for something that ain't got to do nothing with each other at all.
True. And then if y'all actually get to know each other and be around each other, you might create that
Exactly.
bond.
I have many male friends who can't stand each other until they sat down and communicated with each other and realized they're the same person.
Right. That's true.
And that's why they didn't like each other, because they were seeing an outward expression of how they really are. But then
Okay.
when they sat down and they realized they were the same person, and the real reason why they didn't like each other, because they were both being protective of someone that they have in common, they come to realize we don't like each other because we're trying to do right by this person.
But we can all do that together.
And that is usually what happens.
Yes,
So maybe
Lord.
Ty needs to talk to his friend first.
Right.
And hey,
Talk to him, Ty.
Hey.
I don't got them problems
Right,
no
I
more.
know,
Right.
I know.
Hey, when it comes when we're all in this space, I notice that your energy changed. I've known you long enough to know when something's not right.
Right.
What's going on? What is the vibe, or what is the issue in this scenario? Because I don't ever want to put nobody in a position where people have to choose.
Right.
By having that conversation early, this allows Ty and his friend to have a honest conversation, which you shouldn't have no problem with, because y'all
Right.
tight, of what the scenario is. And if it's doubt, and if it's things like, hey man, I heard stuff about her, I knew this, I knew, this is what's going around, I just don't want my boy to get hurt. Now you got a choice to make. Do you approach your woman about these rumors and things that you heard
Always,
in
because
regards to
sometimes
that?
the rumors don't be
Hold on now.
valid. Jesus.
Hold on. Do you approach her about
Ask
the
the
rumors and things you
source.
heard, and hope that the answer you get is honest,
Yes. Lord.
truthful, and you can work through it? Or do you leave the rumors out the equation? It's like, okay, you heard that about her, but that was from a third party.
Right.
From what I've gauged from this individual, I don't believe that to be true.
Right.
What do you do? Talking to you, my guy.
Oh, you want me to answer?
Yeah,
the
I'm
question?
actually
All right.
talking to you.
And especially if the third party that you're hearing it from, you've never seen your mate kick it with, you know what I'm saying? They don't have
Well, here's
actually
the
have a
thing: you
true
don't know
friendship.
who your mate hung out with
Mm.
prior to before she became your mate.
Okay, so how do you handle those rumors with a person? I don't think you look at it like that, Ty. I think you go off the relationship that you have with that individual.
Yeah, I'm not really a rumor based guy because
Me
there's
neither.
a lot of rumors
That's
about
high
me,
school.
a lot of them,
Right. That's
And
high
I get
school.
that.
so
But this is what's affecting your friendship, though.
right,
That's,
and it
that's
is
why I'm-
sometimes it is something you have to approach
acknowledge
and
yeah.
address because sometimes, and I always, again, I'll be like, silence is the best answer. But sometimes, how you just said, in certain cases of facets of relationships, some things do have to be brought to the forefront so there can be an understanding.
This is why I like Ty, because Ty is a complete opposite of me.
So,
Like,
I feel like y'all got so much in common though. Like for real.
his thought process is opposite of
Oh
mine
my
at times.
God.
So being able to bounce things off of him and see how he goes with it, I be loving that. That's the only reason.
know.
Only reason why I jump on the mics.
You definitely dropped some bombs and some knowledge. I want to hear about this insecurity thing that you talking about, Ty. Real quick, I know we
it tied into what he was saying too.
I kind of was getting back to that. Too,
yeah,
but-
because-
Okay. No, I want because I'm curious as a woman, like how y'all see that and what he was gonna say about it.
What, the insecurity?
Yeah, like what were you gonna bring up about it?
So I was going to ask you, right? A man being in that situation, what should he do, right? Should he?
Because y'all be quick to blame it on insecurities, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, for me, I look at the whole ramification because
Right.
if I took away, I'm real big on, I would take away all your excuses first before I present this because I don't want nothing to be excuses. I
Okay.
want the honest truth. So I'm going to look at every aspect first. So if he's in a situation to where it's an insecurity and she's struggling, with this, and she's saying, hey, cut this individual off or cut this person off you have a great relationship with,
No
right?
valid reasons. just
Right.
her
No
own-
necessarily just personal
Right.
things she's battling,
Feeling
because
threatened.
oftentimes
Okay.
how he says it can be a threat, but in terms of like you could remind her of somebody, but for the most common thing is that women feel threatened because they measure themselves up to that woman. They see things in that woman that they know they don't possess right now, and they
Okay.
see it as competition or a problem. So for
Or
that
they see
case,
that their mate truly is attracted to them in the wrong way.
Well,
possible.
well,
Not always.
it's
the case.
possible. It's possible, but I
But
don't
we're
think it's
speaking of the
majority.
case when it's not
right,
that.
right.
Okay.
So do he appease
Right.
the one he's with,
Right.
or do he challenge it for the sake of his friendship as well and his relationship?
Okay. So for me, I would say if he truly values that friendship, right? And he knows within himself that he would never cross that line with this particular person, even whether they wanted to or not. Because sometimes in those cases, she's seeing that the other woman wants it, even though you don't, because we have that kind of women intuition. So she's seeing that the other woman would go, but you might be in this kind of space where you're not going regardless of anything, and you value that friendship. You want to maintain that friendship. So I would allow you to, make your case, but I would still, as your friend, because your woman is your friend too. So I would still, as your friend, make you aware that, hey, baby, I think she likes you. Hey, baby, I know you don't see her in this light. I know this your friend. You want to maintain that friendship. You're telling me not to cut it off, but I trust you. I love you. We good regardless. But I'm telling you right now, hey, baby, she likes you, bro. She likes you, honey bunny. And me being me, I know you're going to see that over time, and then you would decide if you want to cut it off or not. But if she truly doesn't like you, she truly only sees you as brother, right? Then there should not be any issue with me having a relationship with her as well. And so then in that instance, I feel like, and I know we kind of discussed this already, but for me, I feel like I want to be friends with my mate's female friends. I don't think we should have, this is just me, I don't think we should have, friends that we don't know. Like, I want my husband to know my male friends. I want them to have some type of relationship. And if this is just me, if they don't have a rapport with each other, then our friendship is going to perish.
So let's say you the
That's
woman with
just
the
me.
insecurity, right? And you're dealing with the guy, right, who has to make the decision. if he makes the decision to challenge, what you're saying, in the sense to where he's not responding the way that you would like him
Right, I'm
respond,
like, he
how
likes
do
you, baby.
you
You like,
respond
no.
accordingly?
I give it time. I be patient in that situation. At the end of the day, I'm with someone I trust, or I wouldn't be with that someone. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna trust him to be, and he gonna be fine. So I'm gonna trust him to be in these type of situations with these women, and I'm gonna trust him to be able to respond accordingly. So but it's still my job, as someone that has his back, to just spit it in his ear as to what not literally spit it in his ear, Jesus, but just say it in his ear
Mm.
as to what I see that maybe he may be blind from. You know what I'm saying? So I would give that time. I would not react emotional intelligence. I wouldn't react like a tantrum or anything like that. I wouldn't break up with him if I trust him. The only
No
the only
attitude, no
way
nothing.
no, I wouldn't have no attitude. This is my man. This is my honey bunny. This is somebody I respect, right? So I'm going to give that time, and I'm allow him to see that for himself, if that comes out or not. And if he's telling me like, baby, you wrong, again, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to have this relationship with her, right? Now, in an instant, it's different if she don't like me and she ain't got no reason not to like me. Then I'm gonna kind of look at you like you being friends with someone that
Right.
doesn't like me or disrespect me. That's different. But again, I told y'all this in the beginning. This is a man I respect. If I don't respect this man, right? And he, don't roll your eyes at me, Tom. If I don't respect this man, I don't trust him to be disciplined in his flesh. I don't trust him, out in the atmosphere around these beautiful women, then I'm quick to walk away.
Mm.
I'm very quick to say goodbye. Why? Because I don't have to be with you. I don't have to deal with this. I don't need to be in the situation where I'm connecting with a man who is not honoring who I am and honoring our union. You know what I'm saying? But if I trust that he's going to do that, then we cool. I told you about it. No attitude. I'm gonna give you time. Like, I'm not that woman that's gonna have an attitude with you. I'm not that woman that's gonna yell at you. I'm not that woman that's gonna have a tantrum. I'm not doing that. I'm at a space in my life where I can say yes or no. Yes, we rocking together, or no, you got to go. Because at the end of the day, I want everyone to be who they want to be. I want everyone to do what they want to do. My husband is going to want to do the right things. I'm not gonna force you to do nothing, but as your partner, I'm gonna make you aware of what I see, and that's also me kind of seeing who you are. So especially if we're in that dating phase, that's me seeing how you're going to respond to this. Hey, baby, I think she like you. I'm gonna say it like that. I ain't gonna be like, she like you. No, I'm like, I'm pretty sure she like you, babe. Like, what's going on with that? We'll have a conversation, and I'm gonna gauge how you operate, in that. And if you dismiss it like, no, baby, she just cool. Okay, let's go. We should all go kick it together. Let's all be cool together. Right?
Right.
Right. I think we complicate things again that shouldn't be complex, and I feel like all of our friends should be all of our friends. It shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue with that.
I wouldn't be the type that want to be like that close with
my male friends.
Yeah, I'm not like, I mean, we can go do so every now and then, but every time I'm not
Yeah,
fitting.
maybe
You know what I'm
not
saying?
every
Because
time,
some
but
things
also-
warrant his space. That's y'all, that's kind of your time for you to wait.
Is it okay if we're in a relationship? We would never be Jesus. I know he dating would never be. Don't be yelling at me, okay? But who, would I be able to have male friends and kick it with them by myself?
Yeah, I've never been the jealous type. But I've never been the jealous type.
My male
But
friends, if I'm in a relationship.
But this what I'm saying. It goes back to trust too. I've for one never been a jealous type, and for two,
I
if
can
I
get in a
trust you, we
groove.
not. Because I'm expect that same trust because I already know what I have. A lot of female friends too. You know what I'm saying? So there got to be a mutual trust.
So you're gonna.
I'll be with my
allow
female
what you
friends
do.
alone. Like it don't be.
Let me
Like,
ask you a question.
Why can't we all just be friends together and go kick it together?
But what if every situation is not a kickable situation together? For an example,
This
you
that
working
ground talk. Go ahead.
when you at work You create bonds with individuals you work with, right?
Mm.
Yeah, I got work husbands and wives.
Sad. That's sad.
What?
I don't.
Let's just say
I
the friends. Let's say the friends only. Okay, not the
Right.
ones who got that.
I'm the only black
Those
person at my
special
job
topics.
anyway. Right.
All right. But let's just use it as an example. Okay. Let's say you work a job where 3 or 4 of your male friends work at too. Okay. So one of them got promoted. After work, we all gonna go hang out. You like shooting pool. We all gonna go hit the road mines. Let's hang out. Let's kick it.
shooting pool.
Okay. Let's go to road mines. Let's kick it. Let's celebrate Tommy's promotion.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Shout out to Tommy. Love you.
I just used Tommy's
I
name
love
and then forgot
Tommy.
about it. No actual Tommy. It's funny hell. You celebrate Tommy's promotion. You call Bay. Bay can't get off work. Do you not go hang out with Tommy?
And see, I trust myself to be with you. I trust myself to be with Ty. I trust myself to be with Tommy. I trust that. But when I'm in a relationship, I would just kind of ask Bay. If Bay cool with it, then cool.
Right.
But if you go based on what you've been saying the whole show, and if you were in a relationship,
I just
your friend, you would know all your friends, and your man would know all your male friends.
Yes.
So it should be an okay situation because
right.
in this
Because
scenario,
we all know each other.
we all
Right.
know each other. He's
Right.
met Tommy already.
Right.
I think the reason why
So
I'm
in
going
that case,
but
if
the
they
reason
know
why I'm-
each other,
right, the reason why I'm
yes.
going down this avenue is we, specifically black people, we use the word friend too loosely.
That's
I
true.
agree with that.
I have
We use the word
Definitely
friend too
agree.
put
loosely.
some boundaries on that word
and
recently.
we say friends. So whenever someone says I'm going to hang out with my friends without my mate, 9 times out of 10, it's my actual friends.
Right.
I wouldn't go and hang out with
No show.
us-
No
with female
frenemies.
associates
Right.
unless it's a group setting.
Right.
So if somebody I barely know, we met each other in Sherman, Phoenix, was like, hey, we're doing this kickback here at this bar. I just got a promotion come through. I'll think about it. But then that's when the conversation of who's all gonna be there. Because number one, you ain't gonna meet to me. Number two, I'm not gonna put myself in a position where I don't know who's there to be able to give me an advance of how do these people party.
Yeah.
You know, you walk into an event, you hang out with people, you think they're wholesome, you turn around, half the team done got naked and they all on the table just going crazy. Whoa.
To each his
I wanna be
own,
in.
Lord. To
Sounds
each
like a
his
ladies'
own.
night.
Right.
I know we
And I
do be
get-
having cute little pajamas and stuff.
And I get that, but it's like my friends
We
know,
do.
oh yeah, we finna go hang out at such and such bar. I don't know, Tone, this might not be your vibe. Cool, say less. You know, like your friends will give you a heads up. Your friends will put you in a safe space. What if it's not one of those wild nights and we're all getting drunk and we're having fun and I'm not sober to drive? Can I trust an associate enough
Exactly.
to make sure my safety
Exactly.
is going to be
That's
okay?
a whole nother
Not
show,
at
a
all.
whole nother
You know what I'm saying?
topic. Because I won't be around.
But my
people or drinking around
friends
people I don't feel
will
safe
make
with.
sure. Tone, you drinking
No,
tonight?
no,
Yeah,
no.
dog, I need a drink. All right, cool. They know that I'm not the designated driver. So they either going to make sure I'm sobered up, or they know where my cutoff point is. That's why doing things with your friends compared to doing things with your associates needs to be handled differently. If you're with your associates and your man is not going, yes, take your black ass home.
Typically, I'm gonna be the designated driver these days. So
True, but you never know this day and age either.
I mean, that's
Anything
true.
can happen.
Absolutely.
You had a situation that we're not going to speak of that just happened yesterday. You were with your friends, you were taken care of. With your associates, well, I hope she gets home okay. It's not that your associates don't care about you.
What situation? My car accident?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just saying, like, look at how that could have been
Yeah.
handled differently
Yeah.
between friends and
They wouldn't
associates.
care. Yeah.
Right.
My
And it's not
friends
that they don't
called
care
me.
because
My
they don't
friend
care
checked
about
on
you.
me. Yeah.
Is they don't know the limitations of what's required to get you taken care of in
Right.
a situation.
Yeah.
Whereas your friends, because I guarantee you call Ty right away if you wasn't already on the
I
phone with him.
did.
See what I'm saying? Because you
I
knew,
did.
and Ty made sure this is what you need to do.
And Simone
Are you
called me
good?
right
Are you cool?
after.
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
your friends know how to take care of you.
That's facts.
Big difference.
That's facts.
I had
And
to
I also
find out
trust
from
what they
Facebook.
tell
But that's
me
a whole
to
other
do.
conversation. But yeah, so
That is a whole nother conversation. I want to title a show "Friends to the End" and talk about how to select our friendships and all this and that. Man, we touched on a lot of stuff today, y'all. I ain't even weirdly didn't get to all my questions.
That's because this is a broad
This
topic,
is
like
a
You
it's when you're
broad
dealing with
you
topic.
still have
relationships. It's-
time. You don't
Okay,
have
we
to
can
end
do
out.
it.
You can do like 2 more questions.
Okay, all right.
As long as we don't go
Um,
past 2 hours, we good.
I mean, this is a long show, y'all. I hope y'all don't mind. I hope that's okay.
When conversations is
okay.
good and engaging, people
Mhm.
will stay around.
Okay, so I really want to know this part, and I love the podcast because I feel like I'll be getting my questions answered, right? I'm learning publicly, Lord. So I know we kind of talked about me like raising men up in the spirit or kind of bringing them to Christ. And I think it may be different for men and women. But how do you feel? And I can rephrase this with you as well, Tone. I'll rephrase it for both actually.
Say it
Um,
as is and let us
okay.
redo it.
So two different questions then. How do you feel about dating someone who is not where you are spiritually? How do you feel about dating someone who is not where you are financially?
You want me to go? You go first.
It
Nah, you went first
So-
last time. I go
I'm
first this time.
curious.
Okay.
I want to know.
Ironically, as men, we are supposed to accept the fact that women are not on our financial level. Okay, we're
That's why I
supposed
said
to.
it's gonna be different for
That's
men
what
and
we're
women.
supposed to. Because if you look at the way the whole concept of courtship began, the man had to already be at a certain level because he was taking in not only the responsibilities of his new woman, but he also had to be able to give something to the family as a fair compensation. So even though we don't trade wives for cows anymore or anything of that nature, we still are expected to be at a financial status above what our mate is supposed to be. Now, that's not how 2023 works anymore. To
At
be honest
all.
with you, women not only want to be equal to the man when it comes to the workforce, in a lot of cases, they may actually be doing better. Okay, they may actually be doing better. So
the system is set up that way, by the way.
It is. The system
Mhm.
is set up
That
that way.
way.
That was a long time ago. Williams
Mhm.
theory. Yep.
So systematically, we have to be the higher breadwinner in most scenarios, or else, because let's look at it from a realistic perspective. If a young man meets a young woman in the inner city in this day and age, that inner city woman may have a kid from a previous relationship or situationship, right? I hate to say this, but I got to knock it on wood. 9 times out of 10, that woman is getting some form of government assistance.
Mhm.
So in order for this man to be able to take this woman in and become a relationship and establish
I
a
wish
family
I was, but
and a
keep
whole
going.
9 yards on top of that, you have to bring more to the table than what the government assistance is giving this woman to begin with, because she's going to lose so much of being a single independent woman that the government is helping her out with than if you were to just become a couple as is.
Mhm.
So you have to already be almost twice of what you need, because you got to be stable on your own. You technically should be stable on your own as a man who has his own house, car, crib, basically stable.
There was
Basic
actually
necessity.
a rule called the man of the house rule, man in the house
This is
rule.
head of the household, man of the house
Yeah.
kind of situation.
Right. If they were in the house, they weren't
Right.
allowed to.
Right, and that's the thing. When it comes to government assistance, they base it based on your income. So if the man is actually in the household, he should be bringing in some form of an income. And if he is, 9 times out of 10, that income is going to be greater than what the minimum requirement is for to be able to receive government assistance. Therefore, you lose everything. So a lot of
They
times,
threw that rule out. That was a rule.
It was an actual
but
rule.
They threw the rule out, but it had already did the damage.
it's done as damage. It's still
Yeah.
the same way. It's income based now.
Right.
So they
Right.
go based on how many people are in the household. And you still, even though the physical man part is thrown
Right,
out of it,
right.
the income is what they're based on.
True,
So
true.
I couldn't go get a job because just by default, even if I went and got a $15 an hour job, I'm making $35,000 a year.
Right.
I'm already making way too much for them to accept me for having government assistance.
Right.
Therefore, we lose everything. We lose
Right.
childcare. We lose food.
Which
we
is
lose
not
rent
enough
assistance.
for. Listen, that's a whole nother.
It's a whole nother conversation.
35,000.
Right. 35,000 ain't gonna do crap. I'm
It's
sorry.
not enough.
You can't, like, my babies are,
Still need
my 10-year-old
assistance.
can't live off of 35,000,
Amen.
let alone an adult. Give it a buck.
Hustling,
But
hustling.
because of that, we have to always make more and work hard, which is why you have so many Black people who have hustles. I mean, even though we're entrepreneurs
As
and
we
we have small
should.
businesses, I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of the entrepreneurship this
Real
day and
estate,
age is really
whatever it
just
is.
hustles.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. So unless you got two working family household, you're not going to be able to do much. And even with two family households, it's still a struggle in regards to it. So financially, you kind of have to accept the fact that somebody might not be financially stable. Number two, the African American community is financially illiterate.
Mhm.
Okay. It's one of the biggest generational curses we don't speak upon is because our parents were raised, our grandparents and then our parents was raised, don't owe nobody nothing.
Mhm.
So they did not want to deal with credit cards or
cards,
deal with
yeah.
loans and stuff like
My
that.
grandma say that
They-
to this day.
They pay
She think credit
bills
cards are
when
the
they
devil.
can, not when they do.
Right.
So we literally put ourselves against the wall out the door because we don't understand anything about finances, financial institution, banking, credit, nothing. We don't understand none of that. The generation below us right now is going to be the first generation where it's actually going to be in public schools. So instead of us taking that extra stupid ass algebra class that don't do nothing for us,
Which was
You're-
my favorite class. but
you're
go
going to now
ahead.
start getting
I love
a banking and financing class. So we're going to teach you the basics about credit cards, credit repairs, stuff like that. When you look at the fact that nobody knows anything about money and how to properly save money, you're automatically going to have your back against the wall no matter what you do, unless you educate. So I'm a very smart person when it comes to my money. All right. I'm a shopaholic. I have to be smart with my money. I got to go spend it eventually. But with my mate has to be someone who does know how to balance a budget.
Mhm.
So I may make more than you, but you know how to make sure it saves.
Okay.
That's the part of the relationship that a lot of folks don't talk about. Men sit here and say they want a woman who can cook and clean. No, my nigga, you need a woman that knows how to manage money.
That's
Okay.
good.
Both of y'all can learn how to cook and clean together. You should be cleaning your damn house anyway. But both of y'all can learn how to cook. Take turns. It's a sexy thing when a man's in the kitchen cooking.
Yes,
Believe
it
me.
is. Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
I tell men all the
Especially
time.
cooking vegetables.
I tell men all the time, cook for your woman and buy her clothes with pockets. If you do those two things, your woman will love you forever.
Yes,
But
Lord. Stir
If
fry.
you got a woman who knows how to manage money, who knows how to balance the budget, who knows the proper way of utilization in regards to credit, you will always have a successful relationship, because the number one reason why
good.
couples argue
finances.
is finances.
Finances.
So if she knows how to balance the budget and you know how to make the money and you two have an open dialogue of communication, you'll never have an issue over money.
Okay. Second part
Okay.
question. What if she's super in the church and she wants you to go with her, Tone? Is you going? What's going
is-
on? What's
it-
going on?
This is an age-old conflict that I have had for years. I'm talking 4 years. I grew up in the church.
Praise and worship together.
Okay,
Go
I grew
ahead.
up in the church.
Okay.
I originally came from a Seventh-day Adventist church. My elementary schools and my middle school years, I attended a Seventh-day Adventist school. So church itself is ingrained in me. But I'm more of a spiritual person than a religious person.
Me too.
My walk with God doesn't require me to have a church home to be able to do it, and that works for me. Okay. As long as the woman I'm with has an understanding that my walk with God is my walk with God, but I want you to walk with him as well too. But I also want you to know that aliens really do exist. We cool. Okay. Like, don't be stupid, but we cool. Listen to my wife. I have a wild thought process, but roll with it. We good.
Roll with it.
My
roll with
girl's
it.
mom is heavy into church as well too. She's Kojic. Matter of fact, her church is right down the street. She got into church because in the early portion of when we first met, she was lost. Okay. So she found church.
Speak on it. Speak
Part of
on it.
her growth and development, she did used to want me to come to church. I had a really big issue with the churches at the time because I had a conflict with the Seventh-day Adventist churches and how they handled a lot of things. And then I started, as you get older, as a black man, you start learning how you are and learn about your people. You kind of start having a conflict with the Bible itself at one point in time. What you read, what you hear, how it's presented, it can really mess with your head if you don't have an open heart to receive messages properly.
Right, there you go.
Okay.
Because any book can be misinterpreted and
Right,
used for
misinterpreted
a
can be
person's
done.
own
And everybody and
agenda.
people can use it for evil. Let's keep it a
Right.
buck.
Yep,
So I had a real huge conflict with the
despite
church.
its true intention.
But there were times I would go for her. But then when I came to find out, I'm sitting in church and I'm here for 4 hours and ain't nothing talking to me. You up here doing everything under the sun, but you ain't moving me. So I knew right away this not the space for me. But me and the pastor could have a regular conversation outside of the church. And our regular, just basic conversation, now that hits home.
Mm.
So it for me became the theatrics wasn't necessary to me. And I'm not saying church is theatrics, but all that extra wasn't good for me. The regular conversation with me and the pastor, me and the deacons, me and someone who was walking in the light of the Lord hits me harder than sitting in church from noon to 2. So I realized I don't need to be in the church to get my message. It works for her. That's her and her grandmother's bond. Matter of fact, they just left church not too long ago because grandma wanted to go to church. We're going to go to church. So I have no problem with that. Number 2, I've always had a job and or a business that has me working on Sunday. Because when you're Seventh-day Adventist, you don't look at Sunday as a holy day. You look at Saturday as a holy day. Saturday is my day of rest.
My grandma
Even
does.
though-
You said that too.
Which is biblical, yeah.
Biblical,
it's a Sabbath, yeah.
because Seven-day Adventist, it's in the name. So Saturday has always been ingrained to me as my day of rest. And if you pay attention, I really don't do nothing on Saturdays. Every job I have, I take off on Saturdays if they try to have me work on Saturdays. I'll be in the studios in the afternoon, but if you pay attention, I don't do nothing while I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not grinding. I'm not doing work. I'm not progressing. But as you can see, I'll be here Sunday working like crazy over here on the computer, working like crazy over there, because Saturday is my day of rest. That is the part that I honor. And the great thing about my girl's mom is she rests on Saturday too. She honors the way I view religion because Saturday is our day of rest. So from the minute the sun go down on Friday night to about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, we chill.
That makes sense.
It's all family. It's all rest. It's all relaxation. Now, from 2 o'clock on, we're out and about. Whether we're working, we're here, wherever we're doing. But that is my time of peace. That is my time with God. That's my time where I love on my family and my friends, because that's what Jesus did.
Right.
He loved on his families and friends. I don't need the
Aw.
church.
Aw.
I don't need the church to have that connection.
Hey,
I
I
got
still
it
don't
on
have
my
a
own.
church home yet.
It's not all.
But
to me,
I
it's-
watch church
Right,
all
and
the
that's the other
time.
thing. And
All the
that's what
time.
I do as the
Thank you,
alternate
every
to honor her steps.
Yeah.
The pandemic did a lot for the community that people don't realize. And one of the things was a lot of church went virtual because of that. So now the pastor, the same guy who I can sit down and have a phone conversation and have a great movement with, now I watch his sermons on different days. It may not move me on Sunday, but I could watch it on Saturday and it may hit different.
Mm.
I listen to it on Wednesday because I had a rough day. It may hit different.
Mhm.
It didn't hit me on Sunday when you said it, but it hit me on Wednesday. It hit me on Friday. It hit me on downtime on Saturdays. I'm able to get that message when I'm supposed to get that message,
Right.
not at a set time you decide to deliver the message. So basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is you can love whoever you want to. Just know that
Talk
we're going to have a
about that.
compromise in this religion. I'll date someone who's of Islamic nation. Religion doesn't bother me. It's how you walk with your Lord and how we can compromise our belief structure. I'm a very open-minded person. So if you come to me with some new knowledge, I'm all in to learn about it, but I'm not going to sacrifice what I already believe in. I may incorporate the two together. It was one point in time in high school, I was actually dating a Middle Eastern woman.
Ah,
Okay. So her belief structure was Muslim to the T.
Right.
I'm talking everything head to toe. Us being together was like an abomination when you looked at it on paper.
Right.
But this was like my perfect mate at the time. And what I
Yeah.
loved about her was every time I went over by her house, I learned something new.
Love
And
that.
then when it came
I
to the
love
time of
that.
their religious practices, I loved it. I studied it. I embraced it, which is why when I went to college and I started hanging around 5%ers, I embraced what they said too.
Okay.
because I understood it from the Black perspective, but because I had this actual knowledge of the motherland itself and everything from the Islamic, the Muslim religion, I was able to put two and two together, and my growth and walk with God grew a little bit bigger.
Right.
Because I came to the conclusion at the end of the day was what you say over here, what my Christians are saying over here, and what Catholicism is saying those are here, it's the same story told from different point of views.
I agree with that.
And that's really what it came down to. So yeah, I'm spiritual, but I don't have a church home, and I'm okay with that. And if she can be okay with that, baby girl, you can walk whatever you want.
Would you go to church with her?
I would.
Oh, you said you did. Okay.
I'll go. But the only thing is, I'm gonna tell you right now,
But if it's not for you, you're not
I'm-
joining.
don't
There's
expect
nothing wrong with that.
don't expect for it to move me.
You never know. You never know. You know?
I didn't say you never know, but I said don't expect it to.
Amen. No
Because 9 times out of 10, me
expectation.
and God had a conversation earlier that day. It's like, bro, you know I don't want to be here.
I have
man, go
so
ahead and go.
many questions inside of me, y'all.
Go ahead and
I
go.
like could go so many different
My bad. I
ways.
talk too much.
No. Like y'all speaking about these topics give me more questions. I think there should be a part 2 to this show.
What about you, Todd? Could
Yeah.
you deal with a woman who broke?
Could you, the first question, not necessarily even broke, but not as financially, you know what I'm saying, stable as you are.
She broke, fam.
Right.
I like how she sugarcoated it. Can you take a broke woman? That's
But
what
the
she
first
asked.
question was, can you date someone who is not spiritually where you are, Ty?
No, that's a good question for you, bro.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I
Just
want to
for
touch on the
growing.
financial thing first because that's going to be like a
Okay.
short, sweet. Because he covered mostly because, like I said, as
Okay.
men, we don't look for our women to be financially there anyway,
Okay.
because of our roles naturally. So money is never really truly a factor. Now, something that he said that's highly important was for her to know how to properly manage that money, because like he said, that's when the problems arise. And that's good he brought that up today, because literally about, I think it was like 2 days ago or yesterday, I had a talk with
Mhm.
someone about this, on how basically when I came within the heights of my financial businesses that I had and the things that my income had went up. But I mean, I didn't go crazy with my lifestyle, but I stopped looking at price tags. If I wanted it, I had it. You know, it was
Right.
like, all right, I'm gonna get it.
Right.
But I told her, I have a sister, a goddess who she's frugal. She makes good money. Well, actually, she was on the show. She's an
Yeah.
engineer.
Yeah.
And I always
love
tell her, like, you like
her.
extra
I
cheap,
love her.
man.
We gotta
But
bring her back.
she can coupon the mess out of something. And I'm like, you got the money for it, but it's that discipline that she
Right.
has as a wife, you know what I'm
Right.
saying, to not bring hardship upon her family. And I
Right.
respect that. And I was telling her, like, that's pretty much something that I need, you know, because
Right.
again, I'm financial literate. I
Right.
have the income
teach
base. I did
financial
exactly. That's a
literacy,
business.
right.
So I'm there, but I know I still can have some extra discipline that would set me up in a way better, you know, space. But so now I only invest into any of the ventures that I have going on. Then I go and buy things. So financial, from a financial standpoint, that was never an issue for me. I never really looked at it at all. I've always been a provider in any situation that I've been in. So,
Right.
and I take care of the people around me. That's pretty much how I am. Now the spiritual aspect of it is a
Yeah.
is
'Cause
an
is it
important
different
thing.
for men and women in a spiritual sense too?
It depends on where you are in your walk, though.
And that's that's important, because being unequally yoked matter. This is
Right.
why he said be equally yoked among one another, because again, when you are unequally yoked, it's going to show. And oftentimes that's the things that separate y'all are the biggest things. That's the problems. It's all those problems in between.
Right.
And if those things aren't addressed, you know, you're going to deal with a headache.
And
You're
people
going to
just
deal with a
trying to
problem.
make it work to have a partner.
Exactly. It's like you're forcing it, you know, for the sake of it. Can be from loneliness, etc. Right.
Mhm.
For me, when I was in situations,
Don't date out of loneliness, y'all.
a lot of people do that.
They do.
I had to tell one of my guys, like, yeah, you were just bored. Like, why you play with bro like that? Leave him.
No,
And
no.
not even that
Find
was a
a
couple weeks.
hobby.
Like, come on.
Not a man. Go ahead.
So I actually got in a situation after the marriage. It was like, all right, God took me, set me down 2020, like, okay, this is what it means of what I demand a man to be. This is what I demand a woman to be. This is what it means to have a wife. This is what it means to be a husband. Right. And when I've learned all these things, divorce, separation, your individuality that affects your togetherness, these things I've learned, I was like, man, we got to be careful in who we choose. It was something in the Bible that stood out to me, right? When Jesus was speaking to his disciples about marriage, he said, you know, for man shall leave his mother and his father, right? Cling to his wife, and these two shall become one flesh, right? Yes. It was a revelation in that Peter got out of all the other disciples. And he said, right after Jesus said that, he said, man, it's better if a man just don't get married at all then. And he had a wife at home. He had a wife at home. They was just talking about how he just left his family and his wife and his moms and everything to come out.
Cows, and now y'all it's better not to have one. Got time.
Because of the responsibility that we bear in the marriage, right? So the to be equally yoked would kind of, in a sense, be almost nearly to impossible. Because of the fact that what the man has to do, God basically gave you that God role. Right. And when God compared marriage as far as the husband and the wife, he compared the husband to himself. He said, husbands, give yourselves to your wife as Christ gave himself to the church. Right. Now, think about that in that sacrifice, because that's pretty much what it was. You have to sacrifice a lot of things that your makeup is as a husband. Look at God's deity,
and you
right?
Get a whole bunch of stuff in return for that sacrifice.
I mean, we supposed to.
You will.
We supposed
my
to.
Husband will.
And then he tells the woman to basically submit herself under him as the church is to Christ. Right. So the relationship to the husband and the relationship to the wife is equivalent to God and the church. Right. So the husband's role is to fulfill all those things basically that God basically does for his people, for the church. He supply our needs, he take care of, he protect, he guide us, he does everything he's supposed to do, and he stand on everything he's supposed to do, right?
And what she do? Serve.
She serves. Now again,
she's also a partner. But yeah, we'll get into that.
Well,
time.
I don't believe that God made them equal at all. He did not make woman and man equal at all. I don't agree with that.
He made them
that's a new philosophy.
He made them to have individual purposes that they fulfill.
Right.
In their own.
Put a pin in that one. That's a conversation that even I want to go in.
Right. Because so
the role of the man and the woman, we will speak about that on another show, but go ahead.
So I came across a situation where obviously, you know, she wasn't spiritually there as much as I was, and I had to give an introduction of God, right? But how I view it is, I know you're coming in is not equally yoked, and that's fair, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm a teacher. I understand my role and the gifts that God gave me. So how often are you curious, right, within your walk? Because I don't foremost, I don't deal with women who don't believe in God in the first place. Right. That's a no for me. Right. And
because you can't trust how they're gonna operate. We need to
I agree
by these standards. I understand that.
And I'm not saying you have to live this perfect life, but I need you to be on that journey. Right. At the end of the day. Now
I get that.
Some revelations you may not have. There's some things that I can teach you, right, and get you there. And I'm cool with that. But how much are you willing to learn, right, to get there? How much dedication, how much commitment you putting into this walk that's going to get you there? Because although Jesus said what he said and Peter responded the way he responded, right after Peter said what he said, but some of them are born to handle these things. So there are some people who's made to handle the things that come with marriage. And then right after that, he said, there are some who's not. Right. And through that time, you're able to identify who would be willing to put in that work when you don't feel loved and you don't feel like things are going good and it's in that rough path right now. Do you go off of the understanding that you have of this word, or are you going to go according to your flesh? That's my mentality.
Y'all be taking off.
If I see you operating more in the spirit and less in your flesh, to me, we at a place to where we can coexist, because that's what's important to me. As long as we can coexist with one another, then obviously we'll always be there. Now we never be here and here together in your own right. You can be as far as on a virtuous level, me here standing on a wisdom type level or whatever the case may be, and we coexist together and we're equal in our positions and in our own right, but never in our relationship. It's going to be impossible to be equal in that sense. But I'm gonna get off of that topic because y'all say y'all want to talk about it later.
We'll
But
talk about it later.
but I'm
On
definitely
another
more.
show on the Shine Your Light podcast. I am gonna ask y'all one final question, and this is more personal. But go ahead, finish your
But no, I'm definitely more patient when I see that you're putting in the work in that journey. And I know that even if you're not equally there with me now, eventually you're going to be there, because it's all, as far as a spiritual walk, it's just based on your understanding.
Okay.
And the more that you understand as you continue to go, the more, you know what I'm saying, you will be there. And our communication is get better based on your understanding of the word now. Your response and your reactions are better based on the understanding of the word now, because
Okay.
I hate to go in a situation where a woman be like, well, that's you or your opinion about it. Like, no, what do this word say? If we both agree
Yeah.
and we,
That
you know what I'm
has to
saying,
be the anchor.
like this is our compromise
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to do the talking.
Right.
The word can do the
This
talking
is what
for
the
you.
word says
And let's
about
see
it,
how you
right.
respond accordingly.
Ooh. Amen to that. Amen to that. You know, when your foundation is the word, it's kind of hard to deter from that. You know, so that's good. That's good. Allow the word to be the foundation of the relationship. What did it say? It said you should love God with all your heart and love the people around you as you love yourself. Those are two main things that the word of God says you should do. And if you're doing that, then you're doing good, right? You're doing good. All right.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Wrap it up. All right. So quick question. End it. I want you to speak from I want you to answer this question. Listen, y'all, like I be asking, I be getting wild questions answered up here, okay? And really getting guidance and advice from my brothers up here, right? So I want you to answer from the spiritual level. Tony, I would like you to answer from the carnal level, please. Please.
The carnal level. Just
Yes.
I want to answer it.
No.
I feel bad. But
no.
go for it. No, go. What's the question?
I mean, I could transpose it, but
No,
instead of
just
both of y'all
ask
going
the
into
question.
both, you know what I'm saying?
Next question.
Okay. So, how do y'all feel about this? I believe, and there's a reason why I said carnal and spiritual. I believe that when I meet my husband, and I really feel this, and I feel like I was told this, when I meet my husband, like I'm automatically going to know that that's him. Like there'll be a spiritual relationship and connection like no other. I believe not only will we be able to feel it, but the people around us will be able to feel it. And, you know, that's something that I feel like God has told me. And I believe what God has told me, you know, and that's just in my spirit. So on the carnal level, most people would be like, nah, Shell, like, no. On a spiritual level, some people might be like, you know, believe what you believe God told you. So instead of both y'all answering both, y'all can switch if y'all want. But I would like y'all to, you know, just give me your personal opinion about that and be real. Don't sugarcoat it. Yeah, don't sugarcoat it. Because I can kind of predict what y'all would say. But
What you think I'm gonna say?
I don't know for sure. I can
What do you think I'm gonna say?
I would just let you answer. I don't want to assume.
I'm asking you to tell me what you think.
I feel like you're gonna come from a practical level. I feel like you're gonna come from you know, what makes sense, that you need to, you know, meet this person and be friends with this person and give this time and all of that. Not saying that I'm not gonna do that, but I feel like I'm gonna know. I feel like I'm just gonna know.
Yeah, but still, you don't just jump, you know,
I didn't say
into it
jump,
either, you know.
but go
Well,
ahead.
that's how you
Answer
sounded.
the question.
You sounded
Answer
like-
the question.
All right, so
I'm here for it. Answer the question.
since you set the
Tone, you go
expectation of what you think we'll say.
My expectations are from God, not from people. No expectations from y'all. I love y'all.
All right.
I love y'all. I
I'm gonna
adore
be
y'all,
honest
and
with
I
you.
respect y'all. All right.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think you're gonna notice your mate until afterwards. I don't
But
think
some
you're
people
gonna.
who got married,
I don't think
they
you're
say
gonna
they
know
knew
right away. No.
What
Talk-
you mean afterwards?
I'm talking
After
specifically
we're
you.
married.
No. I don't think you're gonna notice that your mate is the chosen one right away. Like you
Chosen
feel
one.
like you think. Because here's the reason why. You have so much trauma you have to unpack.
I'm pretty sure
Hold
I've
on.
been unpacking it.
And then you
And I
have been.
feel like I'm
No, you
fully
have.
healed
Hear me out.
from the
Hear me
things that
out.
I've experienced.
Hear me
but
out.
it's
You're
been a
not
lot.
fully healed. You can tell you why I know you're not fully healed.
I'm listening.
Because there are traumas that we forget about until we are in that scenario that re-triggers it. You have a natural defense to block a lot of people who you may not think is good for you in that moment. You do.
I
You-
can only have one husband.
Hear me out
I'm
now.
listening.
You have a natural habit of blocking.
Block him, Jesus.
But because you have such a loving heart, such a big heart, when you feel like you find that person, you get
I'm gonna
blinded
give
by
him all
love.
of me.
Exactly. So you're either going to give all of you and be blind to the whole situation
Not his-
and not allow the opportunity for it to grow naturally, or you're going to be defensive and be worried about every single step and every single thing that he's doing.
I
Because
like
you
that.
want to have each individual understanding of why is this man doing this. Tone, why do you think he said this? Tone, why do you think he said this?
Grow
Or Ty,
naturally, okay.
where are we here right now? And it's not going to be until we sit here and give you an understanding of how this man is moving, or get annoyed answering all your questions and say, why don't you talk to him about why he's moving the way he's moving? It won't be until that moment when you are comfortable about asking him why he's moving the way he's moving that you will stop and look back and say, you know what? Let me stop questioning this man God has sent to me, because after doing all of this defense, I realize he's going to score and be the chosen one for me on his own. So you know what? Let's go ahead and let's play this game right now.
My defense game is cold.
It is. And
It
that's why I
is.
feel like
Oh.
you are going to block the blessing in the beginning. But because God is saying, this is who I got for you, he going to bring them back
You gotta
around.
say it loud and clear. I need him to
He gonna
be
bring it back around.
clear.
He do talk loud. Y'all don't be hearing it because y'all not ready to hear it. My guy can sit here, slap you in the face with what you're supposed to be doing, and y'all would clearly be like, "Nah, I'm gonna go over here instead." Then he has
Or
to.
I'm not gonna go nowhere until I'm sure.
Because here's the thing about me and my guy, because I had a nasty habit of doing that. He got to the point, it's like, okay, you want to be hard headed. What he starts doing is he removes every single choice that I keep trying to think is better for me, until the only choice I have left is the choice he's been telling me to look at this whole entire time. And then once he do that, I'd be like, okay, my God, I see what you did. I see what you want me to do. All right, cool. And then life becomes so easy. Everything about everything that I'm supposed to be doing falls into place without me doing anything. Because he's removed everything that was a distraction. He removes everything that was a complication. He removed every single temptation. That's what's going to have to happen to you. So you're not going to realize.
I don't be tempted by anything.
I didn't say
I think
temptation.
women are different, but yeah.
No, y'all
I
are
don't
not.
be tempted by
Y'all are
nothing.
actually worse.
I
That's a
know
whole
we
other
shall,
conversation.
But, yes,
But
talk
no.
about that.
Because here's my thing. You will find someone who you think is perfect for you,
Mhm.
and you will go all in. And it's going to take him exposing little different things about him to let you know that this is not who you're supposed to be with.
Right.
And
And
then
that takes time.
and that's going to take
Right.
time.
Okay.
And that's why I
I get
said you're
that.
not going to get it right away.
Okay. So that's time, right?
Don't be mad. You actually, hey, I will
I
never-
no.
I will never lie to you.
I know, and that makes sense because you don't want to be, like almost fooled by something that looks right on paper.
Mhm.
But time reveals all things. But I feel like I'm telling you, like when Jesus was in Mary's belly,
Mhm.
and what was his cousin name that was in
John.
yeah, and he he was all elated and everything in the
Mhm.
belly when he met Jesus in the
Leap,
belly.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like, it was that spiritual
Connection. I think. Yeah.
So I'm coming from a very, very spiritual level that is not going to make sense to most. I'm still standing on it, but I understand the reality of it. Of even if we do have that that we would still have to give it that time to figure out what it is. So I agree with that, Tone. All right, let's get it. Ty the guy, what it do? Am I tripping or no? A little bit.
It's kind of gonna tie in a little bit of what he was saying because,
Okay.
for one, God would usually, if God going to send you a man, right, or a husband, in other words, a husband,
First and foremost, you gotta be ready to receive him. But go
right,
ahead.
he's going to make sure you're ready to receive, right? Because
Right.
he would never put something together that he knows for a fact that you wouldn't be ready for,
Right.
because you would hurt the guy he prepared
I
for you in the
agree.
process.
I agree.
So what
That's
he would usually do
good.
is give it to the man first, because that's the head. And kind of how you said, in terms of when the man come to you, there will be a certain response spiritually to where you would kind of get this eerie feeling or something, but you still don't go accordingly. What, as a wife or not yet made wife, you're supposed to go in prayer and get that answer from God.
That's good. That's
What I
good.
see majority of in these cases is that when God usually send the husband, the wife be like, who is this? Right? Because now they try to look at their list,
Because they don't build
and
themselves up enough
right.
to be ready, but at the same time they be like, well, I don't need him now.
Nah, it was more like they look
Their
at that list,
their
and then yeah,
expectations and
it's
what
not what they
think
thought.
he's supposed
Yeah.
to be.
Oh,
So because God is
that's
saying, I know what you
good.
need, and you're looking at what you want. Mhm.
Ooh, that's
And then
that's
oftentimes
why these
you
these
miss
are
your
private
blessing.
conversations that we're having publicly. Lord, don't let me miss my blessing, Jesus. Don't let me miss my
I
blessing.
actually know a woman who was in this situation.
I'm gonna introduce them to you.
The husband came. She, no way, no, it can't be.
Right.
God told her, yes, this is who I have for you, right?
Yeah.
She gave it a chance. They actually end up getting married, and she's one of the happiest women that I know,
Oh, I
based
love
from that.
I love
So
that.
again, what you need is not always what you want, but it's for you.
Right.
It's literally for you.
Right.
So I'll say that's pretty much how that experience is probably going to happen. And I think that kind of how what he said, I think that you're probably gonna look through that list and probably
And actually,
overlook
it's
a
so
lot.
funny that y'all keep talking about lists, because before I got here, I was thinking to myself, as soon as I leave the show, I'm going to go home and literally write a list of all the things that I want in my partner.
Right.
Not only just the things that I want in my partner, but the things that I want in life. Write the vision down, make it plain. Right. So, and the reason for that is because I was listening to this pastor, Michael Todd. I love him.
Terrible.
Yes.
Terrible.
You said terrible?
We talked about this before.
I've never heard you say terrible to Michael Todd. Did you?
Go back to the
No.
messages.
You talked about another one.
Mm-mm.
We got to talk about this.
We got a
off
few.
the
Yeah.
show. Off the show, Lord Jesus. But well, that part is biblical as far as writing a vision down and making it plain. So we can agree to that part. So that's what I'm gonna do when I get home. So this has been a wonderful session tutorial. You know, really, really good for me. I want to say therapy in a way.
Right.
Really good for me, y'all. I love talking to people who I respect that can guide me and give me some direction. And I hope other people listen to this, and I hope they've gained something from it as well, and guides them to how to date and how to pick their mate and who to date. Right? Thank you so much, Tone, for the situational, you know what I'm saying, the bombs that you dropped today.
We baited him in, y'all. We baited him in.
Did, and I appreciate him forever. Thank you for joining me, Ty the Guy,
Always.
my guest host and all that good stuff. And thank y'all for tuning in to the Shine Your Light podcast. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye.